Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the No Payne Podcast. Happy to have you guys with us today for the 45th episode. It's been a long time running, but we've finally made it to the almighty 45th episode milestone. Luckily for us, we are here today with Karen and Mark of the Dang Good Carpet and Furnace Cleaning. How are you guys doing?
Fantastic. How are you today?
Really good. Thank
Awesome.
you. Just been doing repairs and estimates all day, but it's certainly a bit of a break to be here in the podcast room. Get to meet wonderful people as yourselves and get to know a little bit more about local business. So I didn't realize just how common it would be, I guess, to find duct cleaning services and carpet cleaning services in Calgary. I wasn't sure just how many companies there were, but to find another company like yourselves is certainly reassuring when it comes to these cleaning services.
Right. There's literally hundreds
Right.
of companies in the industry that we work in, and it's a real process to find a company that might suit your needs through the sheer numbers that's out there today.
Right. Well, from what I've seen in terms of advertising, not to mention the name itself is fairly catchy. It certainly helps to separate you guys from the competition, in other words. But from what I've heard, based on us speaking before we went live, is that you are actually fairly interconnected with other people within a similar industry, considering some of the equipment that you guys help to repair. But that is something that we will get into at another time. Why don't we start with you guys explaining how you got involved in this industry in the first place?
Sure.
Did you want to start with that, or do
No,
you want
you
me
start.
to take it?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I've been in this industry for 40 years. I started at 15 years of age, working for my girlfriend's father. At the time, he owned a company in the city, and he introduced me into this business.
Not in Calgary though, was
Not
it?
in Calgary. This
Yeah.
is back in Ontario, so we were working in the Toronto area, and that got my start. It took me into this industry, and it's a real interesting industry to be in. I enjoyed it right from the start, and so I started there and worked for a number of years in Toronto in this industry, and then moved out west and in my early 20s and continued in this industry for different companies throughout the province. Fire restoration, flood cleanup, all that kind of stuff. And way back when, I don't know, 25 years ago, when the Red River sort of blew its banks, where
Right.
there was massive flood cleanups throughout the Red Deer and surrounding areas, and we were involved in a lot of that work and cleanup event there as well. But it's given me a broad feel for the industry as I was growing through
Yeah,
this.
I was just thinking to myself, to have experience in such a vast variety of just cleanup procedures,
Yes.
whether it be just, I guess, straightforward residential cleanups, I mean, along with major natural disaster cleanup as well, and
Yes.
fire and everything in between. You certainly seem to be well equipped for furnace and carpet cleaning.
Well, although I had all that background, we didn't pursue that when we started Dang Good. We strictly stuck with
Carpet cleaning.
carpet cleaning, furnace and duct cleaning for residential homes. That was our focus, and we didn't pursue any of the bigger stuff, as we wanted to focus on people's homes and the customer aspect of the service.
Right. Well, it's certainly more intimate, of course. I mean, working for a specific family, on a personal property, it certainly gives you this great sense of, well, what's the word I'm thinking of? I mean, it's more personal, right? I mean, as compared to, say, a large commercial site.
Yeah, well, when you're in a customer's home and you're in their intimate space for sure, and having a customer gauging their reactions to the work we provide, and we really enjoy the customer's participation in everything we do while we're in their home. So the more customers are with us as we're doing our work and the reactions we get from them, it's always very satisfying to see the results of our work and their reaction to it.
Certainly, that is something I can certainly admire, because I mean, myself working in residential re-roofing and repairs, I can certainly get the satisfaction from the look on a client's face, or just you can certainly sense when they're very happy with the work that was done.
Yes, and it's a lot of fun to have
certainly
that.
much more personal than, you know, a big wig from a company who owns a major warehouse building. It's a little more disconnected.
That is so true.
Right. So in the early stages, you were saying that you didn't actually cater to both furnace cleaning and carpet cleaning. I think you said you started with specifically carpets. Why don't you tell us a little bit more about the evolution of the company?
So Mark actually, although he'd been in the trade for quite some time, he actually did lots of other things. One of the things he did was be up in Fort McMurray doing something completely different. And then Mark decided, I want to run my own business. And at the time I was working full-time doing something completely different too. So Mark said, oh, it's easy. I'll just go out and get myself a carpet cleaning truck, and I'll pick up a copy of the Yellow Pages and I'll call round customers, not realising that things had changed quite considerably.
Certainly.
And it became apparent that we had to market in a completely different way. And actually, marketing and search engine optimization wasn't at the time.
And I'm just going to jump in because I'm a bit of a dinosaur. So I'm like, I can just pick up the phone, make some calls, we'll be great, get the business started. And although we did that at the very beginning, because I used to do a lot of telemarketing back in my day and stuff like that, and I just thought it was going to be a quick startup, and it
didn't work that way.
Things have changed so much over the years, and I'm not a techie person or anything of that nature, and that's where my wife came in.
Right. I was going to say, I mean, technology seems to come about faster than people are able to.
Yes.
Faster than you really realize that it does. And
that's right.
Yeah.
So at the time, I was actually working a full-time job and then still trying to do the website and the marketing and the SEO. I actually, when I look back now, I don't know how I did it. You know, because I would have to come home and start working and then work all weekends and then go back to a full-time job and then work. And it didn't take long. I mean, we started the business in April 2016, and by October, I had to leave full-time work and work solidly on the business.
We had to
Fantastic.
We made, I mean, my wife she literally said, there's no way I can do both.
Of course,
and we got to make a decision here which way we're going to go. And I'm like, you're coming on full time.
Right.
You can let that other job go.
Right, you'd be spread too thin, of course, among two full-time jobs.
Yeah, and for me, as I say, I mean, obviously, any business knows there's bookkeeping and taxes and human resources and health and safety and data protection and all sorts going on, but obviously you've got to get customers, and for me the marketing and the search engine optimization was key. And fortunately I loved that side of the learning it, just learning and reading and learning and adjusting to that. So.
Right. Well, that actually leads me into one of my next inquiries, more so about the roles that each of you play within the company. If you could maybe tell us a little bit more about that. You mentioned marketing and you know.
We completely complement each other, because the things I do, Mark would struggle with, but I can't do any of the things that Mark does. So do you want to say a bit more about what you do?
Yeah, I mean, Karen's exactly right. I mean, I think every day if Karen wasn't part of Dang Good, we would not be Dang Good, because we would not be where we are today for any stretch. For me, I know the hands-on of the business. I know what our customers are looking for and what they expect out of a company in our industry. And so for me, managing the guys, training, following up with customers, and just keeping our level of customer satisfaction at a high level, that's basically what I do. I mean, today I sit behind a desk where just a short time ago I'd be out in a truck, back behind the desk, back out in a truck, fixing a truck, all of these things that you have to do to make a company run each and every day. And eventually we got to the point where we were able to get enough of a nucleus of staff, which I'm sure you find difficulty in your industry too, keeping good people.
Certainly.
All the time, or even finding that gem in the rough that you can train to be part of your group. Right.
Very difficult thing, of
course. It is.
Yeah.
It's extremely difficult. I mean, you can find anybody, but are they going to be a part of your core group that's going to deliver what you want? So that's what I do every day. So that's how we complement each other. My wife, is just a huge part of this business in all the marketing and SEO. And she's the person our SEO company calls when they need help. That's how good she's got at SEO. So it's kind of interesting. She's become quite a pro.
Well, Mark gets fascinated sometimes because I'll do blog posts on certain more technical aspects of the business, and I think you're quite fascinated how much research I've done. I mean, I've never been out and carpet cleaned, have I ever?
No, but you've
But
learned.
on the technical side,
Equally important, of course.
I know,
Yeah.
I know, because I like to understand. I want some authority there too. So
Right.
yeah.
So have you had any hands-on at all with the procedures?
Only in as much as I've watched sometimes,
I
but
see.
no, it's all been research that I've done.
Of course, right.
And actually, when it comes to carpet cleaning, I have actually taken the IICRC course, which is one of the most recognised courses in carpet cleaning. So I've taken it all from a technical.
I'm gonna clear something up. My wife is an expert on carpet cleaning.
I believe you.
She really is an expert, and she is an expert in furnace and duct cleaning. And I say this because she may not be present or have been on job sites or anything of that nature, but my wife has this innate ability to study a specific procedure and become absolutely proficient down to the minute details. And
Fantastic.
Never
so
done
I now sometimes if I have a problem or an issue that I need to deal with specific to a certain thing, I bring it home to my wife, and I know she's going to research every last bit of it.
Great.
And by morning, I got a great answer, and I've got a fix for that problem. So
Yeah, that's
she's quite handy.
Yeah, that's an admirable skill set, no doubt about that.
Yeah,
It's like a photographic memory almost. You can read and study things to the extent where, I mean, you can recall that information.
Yeah,
in a
but
way
just
that allows
passionate
you
about
to-
it, I
right.
guess, right? So yeah.
Oh yeah, some people, customer service is what it really is at its core, and some people just really enjoy that aspect of the work. I think like
Yeah,
yourself, of
yeah.
course.
Yeah. Yeah, we've had incidences, we're talking about research, an interesting one. Things don't always go well with customers, necessarily. But the secret is how you respond to unhappy customers. Well, not every customer who wants to review you actually tells you their name when they're reviewing you, right? But I will research till I can find who that customer is, and we can get back to them.
Backstory to that.
Yes.
There's a backstory to that, and it's Karen's referring to our online Google reviews. And our passion towards being the best in our industry,
Right.
because we have a real passion for that. And it's a struggle sometimes. Having a great online presence is a double-edged sword, because you go to sleep every night wondering, are you going to keep that level? So the last thing you check at night is you're standing on Google, and the very first thing you check on the morning is your Google standing. So sometimes we get customers who will not give us the most glowing review.
Right.
Our goal is always to find out why that happened, or how can we correct it, or how can we make that better, or what can we do for the customer in order to give them what we could have done to give them a better experience. And
Of course.
sometimes customers review you in a way that you don't know who it is. You have no idea who that person was. They just say they were a customer.
They don't use their name.
They don't
Yeah,
use their
that's
names.
difficult for sure.
And it's
Yeah.
very difficult for any company to remedy that.
Of course. How do you improve?
How do you?
When,
How do you reach
yeah.
out to that customer other than responding on Google? But my wife is also a part-time detective and has her ways to find out who
Right.
those.
They give you clues. They give you clues, and it's like, okay. And then, literally, we had one came in at it was about 7 p.m. on a Friday. Well, most people are chilling out on a Friday. I'm there going, okay. They said this. They said that. That means that narrows it down to there. It narrows it down to there. And and the person who gave a review, actually, we did the job for them, say 3 or 4 weeks ago, not like yesterday. And we still narrowed it down, didn't we?
We were, Karen narrowed it
Congratulations.
down. Yeah, she narrowed it down, and we were able to reach out to that customer and remedy that whole thing. So.
It certainly does go a long way. Reviews, online reviews, of course. I think more so Google reviews. I mean, they seem to be the be-all, end-all resource for most consumers when looking into the legitimacy of a business, I suppose.
Yeah.
And so to go the extent that you go to rectify any issues with any clients, certainly very important. And to hear that you put so much effort into that is also very admirable. Of course. I know the owner of No Payne, Michael Payne himself, has also taken up that challenge. Sometimes it is a challenge, many a time, and sometimes easier than others, but customer service is first and foremost, and if you can rectify an issue, it certainly looks fantastic on behalf of the entire company, and can certainly improve ratings on Google.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I mean, a 1-star review for any company is devastating.
Right.
And to be able to reach out to your client and remedy that, if you're able to, is a win-win for everybody. It's a win for the customer, first of all, and it's a win for the company and our employees as well, because it does keep your reputation at that level. And today, I tell all of our guys every day, we're as good as our last review. So it's that important. It's not like, we got a 1-star, big deal. We have lots of 5 stars, whatever. We don't look at it that way.
We're devastated.
We look at that review that might not have been so good, and we want to turn that review back into a 5-star, and it can be quite a challenge to do so. I could speak all day on how to make that happen, and or what happens if you can't make it happen. What do you do then? But that's our goal every day for every customer.
Of course. I like the quote, what you had just said. You're only as good as your last review, right? Which is a great way to look at it, no doubt about it. And yeah, some clients are very difficult to turn over if you have to. I mean, you might even take a loss financially trying to rectify the issue, but even then the client's not happy, right? Like they might be stuck on the initial disappointment. Regardless all of the efforts made to rectify the problem, some people are just so stuck on the initial upset.
Yeah. We've I think out of all of our reviews, there's only been 1 or 2 that we haven't been able to rectify. But rectifying a 1-star review, I can tell you a quick story. I personally went out to a job. I had done a specific job, and later that day, I saw that this customer's wife had given us a 1-star review, and back then I was quite devastated. Like, how did we possibly? I was on that job myself, and I phoned the customer up and I said, can't recall his name, and I said, what happened? I said, we spent a lot of time in your home. You were happy, and
you went late that night, I think.
Yeah, we really went out of our way to give you the best job possible. And his response was, "It's my wife. My wife is just not happy. She's, I couldn't stop her from doing that 1-star review, and sorry, there's nothing I can do about it." And I said, "Well, can I speak to your wife?" And she got on the phone and she, explained, I can see this, I'm not happy with this. And I explained to her, well, it's very helpful if you're on site when we're doing the work, and we could have addressed it. But I said to her, well, we'd be happy to come back. And if you could please be home when we come back, and we'll rectify every single issue you feel you want to bring up. So I went back with one of my techs, and I spent, I swear it was 2.5 hours on my hands and knees with a hand tool, crawling around at her direction, to spots on the carpet that I couldn't actually see.
Show me the next spot you're not happy with, actually having her direct mark.
Right.
So that sense.
That's determination.
That's determination. Yeah. I am not above any humility whatsoever, because I will get to it. And so until she finished pointing out what she wasn't happy with, and then we had covered everything, and I needed some help to get up because I was so long down on my hands and knees. It was difficult to stand back up. But after that, she was very happy, And that resulted in taking that 1-star review back to a 5-star review. And that is literally how far you have to be willing to go to make something like that happen.
Yeah, sometimes. And I mean, I don't think the average homeowner or consumer, dare I say, realize the kind of impact that a 1-star review could have on a business in the short term and in the long term.
Yeah.
Actually, I think consumers are way more astute now and understand that their words or their opinion now online has massive weight.
Certainly,
And sometimes that's a good thing, and other times it can be used against a company, meaning, oh, I want a really good job, or I'm going to give you a 1-star review, or,
some leverage there. Yeah.
And it's like you're in fear, right? What am I doing here? I shouldn't be here. But if you don't do a dang good job and all this stuff, you might not get a 1-star or whatever. People will use Google reviews as a weapon.
It's an abuse of power.
Abuse of power.
Yeah, that's how it seems. In some cases, if some clients feel the need to intimidate,
and we're no different. We're customers too. So, we get work done on our home, and we have different services and stuff like that. And we've had experiences where it wasn't the best service, right? Or it was awesome.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
But we always, I'm sure they didn't mean to do that. We'd always, you reach out. We never give bad reviews to customer or to companies, just because we do know the power of it. We will reach out in a different way, as opposed to reaching out through a Google review as a punishment to a company for not doing something right.
The problem with when you go to, like, taking carpet cleaning, the tech might go and they might do a wonderful job, but the problem is, say it's been a rental home and the person's moving in, and what they don't realize is there's been a ton of spills on that carpet, and they haven't been mopped up right away. And so it doesn't look too bad, but actually underneath, there's actually quite a lot of coffee.
I think you're going to bring up the wicking issue.
Yeah.
Uh-oh.
So what happens is the tech might actually do the job, and the job might actually, when they leave, be fine. It might look fine. But then after a few hours, all these stains start to appear that weren't maybe even there before. That can actually happen.
Anyway.
They weren't visible before.
Wow, interesting.
And so then the customer goes, well, you've made the carpets worse than when I first had them. I asked you to clean them. I didn't ask you to make them worse. And then this is a situation we get sometimes.
And that's wicking. And what my wife, Karen, is referring to is you can have a previous spill on a carpet and it's been cleaned up topically, but a lot of that liquid has gone into the underlay and it just sits there. And once it hits the underlay, it's like a big sponge, so it just spreads right out. You have this massive area underneath the carpet that's full of coffee, juice,
dried,
whatever, and over time it dries, right? So when you clean a carpet and there's been all these kind of mishaps over time, and maybe the people in the home at the time have no idea that was the case, or may never even know. And so we clean a carpet like that, and the heat from cleaning the carpet at a high temperature and the suction can reactivate some of these things that are in the underlay.
Yeah, certainly. You're reintroducing moisture as well, which will help to soften things up.
Absolutely.
Right.
And so as the carpet dries, sometimes you get these wicking issues. So we get customers.
So that's what happens. And so obviously with that, you would get a call back saying what's going on, but we would always address those issues. Yeah.
Do you have any, or do you provide any clients with, say, a pamphlet or any information before moving into a job about, say, wicking or the potential?
Well, we do. We're pretty thorough on our booking when customer books a job with us on various types of issues that we want to address right up front. Then our technicians are well trained, and they do walkthroughs with the client prior to starting the work.
Yeah.
And they'll cover a whole wide range of different things, and it all depends on what each home has got its own particular situations, and we deal with those and we explain them to the customers. It's all about setting customers' expectations, and then performing your work to the ability that we can, and hopefully always give them
Yeah.
a
I mean,
a
you
good
can't,
result.
some stains you can't get out. And sometimes customers say, use something on their carpet that essentially has bleached their carpet. Well, you're not going to, you can't steam clean a bleach stain back to its original
Right.
colour.
Right.
Sometimes they think we can, but you can't do that.
But there's so
right?
many so many possibilities with folks, what they do in a panic situation. They have an accident or something's happened and they attempt to clean something and they make it a permanent issue where it didn't have to be and stuff like that. So there's all kinds of prep to work with customers prior to even starting any job.
And we also have a blog. So these issues we talk about in the blog as well.
Is that something we'd find on your website? Or?
Yeah.
Right.
So one of the blog has lots of things about different aspects of carpet cleaning or furnace cleaning, but I also have started doing quite a lot on cleaning hacks as well.
Right.
in different-
Fantastic.
So which is so things people can do. If you do have a spillage, what you should do right straight away and things like that.
Of course.
Yeah.
I should certainly look into that. As I had pointed out when you got here, Carly and I have a couple dogs, one of which very young and one of which not fully potty trained yet. And so, yeah, cleaning stains on carpets, certainly something that we've had to do quite a few times lately. And knowing some of these tips or tricks, I think would be very helpful.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Pets are
We love pets.
we love pets because they keep us busy.
Yeah.
We love pets for other reasons too, but they do keep dang good, fairly busy.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, your pet has an accident and people go into panic. Oh my gosh, it's on my new carpet or what have you. But I mean, simply a pet stain, for example, or even worse, where they haven't peed, but they've had a very nasty explosion from the other end.
Right.
And it is a major disaster. We get many calls like that where people are quite panicked and stuff like that. And we've tried everything to clean it. We've put this on. We've used this and we've used this. And I'm thinking in my head, I'm like, oh my gosh, you're actually doing everything you shouldn't do. So please stop.
Yeah, that's probably Carly and I as well. Not sure if you noticed, just at the top of the stairs, actually on the way down, we have like a Hoover carpet cleaner.
Yes.
Oh, right.
More so just for kind
Yeah,
of spot cleaning.
Sure.
With whatever carpet cleaning solution, using the hottest water that I can, and it's been. I mean, the problem with that though is just how much hair is actually in the carpet, along with even after vacuuming the area, it's ingrained hair. So I mean, I might not be using it in the way that it was intended for, but
Right. We actually, pet hair is kind of difficult. Yeah, we have a special process that we use to really pull all that hair out of people's carpets as well. Pet hair is a lot of times when it gets into the carpet, intertwines with the fibers.
Right.
And it doesn't matter how much you vacuum or clean or what have you. You roll around that carpet with your suit on or your best shirt or whatever.
Yeah.
Boy, you're coming up looking like a hairy dog. So,
yeah, of course. And, our dog, one of them is white, and so can't avoid white hair.
Yes.
Luckily, with the black dog, it blends much better. But I would believe that there is a stark difference between, say, a consumer grade carpet cleaner like I have versus the kind of equipment you use. I assume much more commercialized.
Yeah, and the other thing you have to watch as well is that a lot of people have these little mini steam cleaning, but they're full of chemicals.
Right.
And so over time you add all these chemicals into your carpet. And I don't know if you've ever noticed sometimes with those kind of things is, I've cleaned it, and a few days go by and it's dirty again. Well, you've got all this residue now in the carpet that's actually going to make it grubby. That's a good way to say
it's a magnet to dirt.
It's a magnet. All the residue is actually a magnet for the dirt. So you might have cleaned it right there and then, but the moment you're walking all over it, you're creating dirt again.
Yeah.
Yeah, it certainly is a science behind cleaning a
We
carpet.
get people all the time. Do you guys bring something like I can get at Safeway to clean my carpets, or do you bring
those big red?
they're
those
expecting
big red
us
ones.
to show up with a Safeway
Rug
special
doctor.
rug doctor or something like that. We actually get asked those questions, and we explain to them quite happily that no, we're a little bit better than your Safeway.
Yeah, you
rental.
can't go out and buy the kind of equipment that we use. Yeah,
Our equipment is rather expensive.
Of
yeah,
course,
there's
I would
no
imagine.
doubt. Yeah.
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 Well, I'm certainly happy to be acquainted with the two of you. Carly and I plan on broadening our horizons here within 9 months or so. We're hoping to buy a house, and
Oh wow.
Cool.
Yeah.
just to be sure we get the damage deposit back that we would like.
Yeah.
I mentioned before about having to repair some areas of the carpet because of the dang cats.
Yeah.
The dogs themselves and just the wear and tear on the carpets, we can certainly help to rejuvenate the appearance and, I mean, the
Absolutely. And
Yeah.
if you're buying your first home, one of the most important things is to make sure you have a good roof on that home before you buy it. So there's a great company in town called Payne Roofing.
Yeah,
You might want to give them a call.
Hey, yeah, the little bit of cross promotion never hurt anybody. No doubt about that. But no, yeah, I'm happy to have another contact.
Also, in terms of pet and pet hair, I think I actually got a picture on the website on our furnace cleaning page. I'm pretty sure it's on there. Like we did one job and it was like masses and masses of hair.
Yeah,
wasn't
just
there?
how much hair.
Get in the
ductwork.
ductwork.
Right.
It's-
So that actually leads me into. I'm sorry, Mark.
No, go ahead.
Right, I was going to say that leads me into another question. I guess the importance of duct cleaning, because we've been going on and on about carpet cleaning, but there is a whole other side to this coin, shall I say? And duct cleaning is certainly very important as well. I was hoping you could maybe explain the importance
Yeah.
behind doing regular duct cleaning.
Yeah, well, I can tell you, I was when I was in the industry back in Ontario, I was working with a friend of mine that was had his own business at the time, and I can recall vividly the introduction to air duct cleaning in Canada, because it was never something that was ever considered. I grew up, my parents never had their furnace cleaned. They wouldn't even run or furnace and ducts cleaned. They wouldn't have known what that was, never thought it was a thing, never anticipated it needed to be done. And I would say it would have been 1987, 88. Dating myself a bit now. I remember my friend saying, "Hey, we got to get into this duct cleaning. I've been, hearing about it. It's going to be a thing. It's going to be a big thing that needs to be done." And we thought, yeah, that sounds really good, but we had no idea what we were doing. And my boss, he shows up with this little 1 pound vacuum with a hose that's maybe a foot long, and this is what we're going to clean air ducts with. But we thought this was great. This is state of the art.
Right.
We were running around sucking out vents and doing this and cleaning out the furnace the best we could. And boy, we thought we were covering all the bases, but we weren't even scratching the surface. And customers at the time, oh, this is great. Somebody's cleaning out my vents or what have you. And, at the time it was a big thing, and air duct cleaning progressed over time, over the years. And, we went to bigger vacuums and hoses, and then from portable systems, which they still use portable systems today, which are still good, all the way up to the big trucks and the high-powered vacuums and the high-pressure air and all that kind of stuff, which is what we use today. And long story short, air duct cleaning is very important. So for your home, your health, the air that you breathe, allergies, asthma.
Yeah.
There's all kinds of reasons you want to get those ducts cleaned out, right?
Right. How often should it be considered, do you think?
You can answer
Well,
that
we
one.
recommend every 2 years, unless you've had some kind of renovation.
Right, okay.
Renovation, you'll find you might end up with quite a lot of drywall dust
Right.
in the vents, things like that.
Yeah.
Or if it's a brand new home, best to have the furnace and air ducts done.
Always have a brand new home done before you move in.
Then, yeah,
You'll
because
find bagged lunches,
you'll find
find
some very interesting
things
things.
down the vents.
Right.
We've even seen them used as the bathroom before.
Yes.
Oh, yeah,
There's
I can
been some
imagine.
So you
very
want to make
interest-
sure that that's all
Yeah,
been cleaned
yeah.
out.
Sometimes you
before
find
move
a
Yeah.
duct right next to the
But
toilet.
if you're
you
doing
never
it
know.
regularly,
Yeah.
we say every 2 years.
Right, okay.
We'll put a sticker on the furnace saying next due in a couple of years. And so unless there's some reason that it's going to trigger, or if you've got somebody with allergies, they might want to do it more often.
Once a year,
More
in extreme cases.
yeah. Because you can just, as well as cleaning, there's also like the sanitization that we'll do through the system as well. So
Yeah, sanitization is really important.
yeah.
We use for that we use a medical grade disinfectant called Vital Oxide, and we fog duct systems. So for people who are ultra sensitive, and you just want to make sure they have a real clean ending to that procedure, we do that as well.
Right, of course. Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I assume that would be very necessary for homes with, say, lots of animals and a lot of pollutants, say,
Yeah.
around.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, it really would be. Your indoor air can be quite dirty. So everything you can do to mitigate that is a good thing.
Of course. And as you said, for so long it was overlooked. And even now, I mean, I've been renting
Even now
for a
we
long
get
time.
people, I haven't cleaned my, it doesn't happen often, but we still get, I haven't cleaned it in 30 years. I didn't know I was supposed to clean it until my home inspector brought it up.
Right.
Maybe they're selling a home or what have you, and they're like, we've never done this, didn't even know it needed to be done. Now,
Right.
that does not happen very often anymore because air
course.
duct cleaning is so common now, and most people know it's something to be done, but we still get those.
Right.
You do have to watch, though, that you're choosing the right company for duct cleaning. There's some people out there that will say they do duct cleaning, but they really don't.
That's a good point. That's a good point because, again, in the service industry, and this is every company that's in the service industry for the most part, again, there's so many companies out there. There's lots of people who get into the industry thinking it's an easy way to make $1, right? And they have no interest in being really good at what they do. They just want to make quick money.
Same goes for roofing as
Yeah,
well, unfortunately.
Unfortunately, it's the same in most service industries.
course,
It's just rampant. So anytime choosing a company, I always, even when customers call us and they say, oh, we're going to shop around or what have you, we encourage them to shop around and I always tell them, if you are going to shop around, just be aware. And I'm sure they are, but there are hundreds of companies in our industry. Stick with the top half of those and make your inquiries.
Yeah.
I said, because
It's where the
there's a
reputation
lot of
comes
people who
in.
will say we will do this and this and this, and you find yourself in a very difficult situation. I'm just going to piggyback really quickly. I told you, see, once we start talking, we never stop.
No, it's
Especially
okay.
me.
This is what
Especially me.
the goal is to have you talking more than I'm talking, so that's great. And,
I'm just going to bring up a quick story of a
Sure.
customer, a repeat customer of ours who
Was
called
that
us up.
on the carpets, though? Yeah.
And she's actually a neighbor of ours who lives in our neighborhood. And we've done work for her before. And she called us up to do some carpet cleaning. And we had scheduled her in. And her husband didn't like our price. Thought we were a little bit too expensive and decided they would shop around and have somebody,
Else.
So they canceled with us. And I was okay with that. If it's entirely up to you. And about 4 days later, I got a phone call from my customer, his wife, absolutely frantic because they were selling their home. And they had hired a company to come in. I don't know the name of the company. I never even asked. And she had said, my carpets are all different colors. And I said, well, I'm not going to say her name, but we'll say Mrs. Jones for the sake of it. I said, well, Mrs. Jones, what happened? She said, well, they came in and cleaned my carpets and they went all funny colors. And I said, oh my goodness, that's awful, right? You should maybe give them a call and let them know that you have an issue. Well, I did, but they won't return my calls. I said, I'm very sorry to hear that. What would you like me to do? And she says, well, can you fix them? And I said, well, maybe, but maybe not. This could be a permanent problem now. And I would suggest you give the company a call back and explain to them you'd like them to come back and fix that problem. She said, okay. About an hour later, they still won't answer my calls. And I said, well, although we didn't clean your carpets and you're in this situation, if you like, I'll stop by on my way home from work and I'll have a look at your carpets. Well, I walked in there and she was right. Her carpets were a real mess. And she was having a showing the very next day and she was just in an absolute panic. But I did not have very good news for her. And that was they were likely permanent situation. And I didn't want to gloat on the fact that they decided to go with however their route took them to put him in that situation. I did feel sorry, had some empathy for her simply because she's in this situation. But that's the exact point. If you're just looking for the cheapest price out there or what have you, it may cost you a lot more than.
Of course, some of these companies just fly by night, right?
Yes,
and
absolutely.
Get in, get out.
And are they going to back up their work? Are they take ownership for what they're doing.
Yeah,
Right.
of course, and it's unfortunate to find people in that circumstance.
And we had those situations. Now, one of the things we do is upholstery cleaning.
Yes.
You know what I'm going to say,
No.
right? Well, last Christmas we ended up owning a couch.
Oh, yes.
So upholstery cleaning, it's really important that you read the labels before you do any upholstery cleaning. And unfortunately, our technician didn't on this occasion.
Uh-oh.
And if he had, he would not have steam cleaned the couch because what did it have in it? Duck
It was
feathers,
a custom-made piece of furniture, and it doesn't matter how good you are or not. You're going to come across situations. Every company does where you make a mistake, and whether it's your employee or myself or what, it doesn't matter who it is in the company. It's the company's responsibility to deal with that, and that's this is where we take a lot of pride in dealing with the tough stuff. We don't run away from it. We own
Right.
it. You just own it right from the beginning. And this was a very expensive piece of furniture. My tech did not. And
Urban Barn.
he is one of our best upholstery cleaning techs that we have. For whatever reason, he didn't check
Didn't read the label.
And he went to clean a piece of fabric that was made of, had a special, it was made of fowl.
Feathers.
Yeah, fowl feathers, right? And essentially he made a mess of that couch that we were not able to rectify. So our customers were quite
Reasonable.
very reasonable.
Yeah.
They weren't upset or anything like that. We did make it clear that obviously we'll be replacing your couch. And when I said that, I didn't realize, how much that couch was going to cost.
It was a custom piece of furniture. Yeah.
Yeah, so we
owned it.
We owned it. We bought it. We replaced it, and it was just a lesson for all of us. Check your tags. Do the work up front so you don't end up.
And don't ever steam clean couches that happen to have feathers
weaved into the material.
weaved into the material.
Yeah, I see. You reminded me of myself. We have one of those pull-out IKEA couches upstairs, and I pulled the couch away from the wall to vacuum last week, and the tags on that couch are this long. There's maybe 3 or 4 of them, super long, and I thought, and of course I cut all the tags right off it and threw them out because I thought to myself, well, they're never in the way, the tags, but
Right.
when I was vacuuming and they're like
I'll never
a
need
foot long.
those.
Yeah, and here I
Never
am
need.
thinking of myself cutting the tags
Yeah.
off of that couch. And
Yeah.
someday I might need to clean it. I should certainly clean that couch someday.
And I have
oh,
a
man.
blog post on the different tags, what they mean and everything.
I would
too.
have to Google or Google search the couch and try to
Yeah.
find
Yeah.
the tags
Yeah.
before I do
Yeah.
anything with it. But
Mhm.
yeah, that's funny that you mentioned that. Anyways, a minute ago, there was an interesting segue into another topic. We kind of moved past that a little bit, but I thought it would be interesting to go into that because you mentioned, there are so many different companies that cater to carpet cleaning and duct cleaning, and you mentioned telemarketing, and so I naturally thought of all the telemarketing calls that we'd get for duct cleaning services,
Yeah.
and I'm just wondering if you've ever received calls from any of these
Yeah.
companies. Now you maybe
Yes.
respond
Yeah,
to
this
Yes,
is
we
this is
do.
kind of a favorite topic of mine.
Yeah,
I
fantastic.
used to love telemarketing.
Years
I
ago,
did it
didn't you?
for years, and
Back when it was, I suppose,
back
much
when it was
more
a major part of marketing,
Right.
Because telemarketing used to be
pre-internet days, I suppose.
absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely. So if you wanted business, you better have a crew of people on the phone and making those calls.
Right.
Well, as we all know, they're the most annoying things that you can do. Even back in the day, it was annoying.
Yeah.
You're sitting down for dinner, the phone rings, and I used to be one of those guys. Hi, Mrs. Jones, it's Mark from Dang Good Furnace and Duct
It
Cleaning.
wouldn't have been that, would it?
It wouldn't have been that, but and it's like, we're having dinner. Thank you, click.
Yes.
And you've given that customer a negative experience of your company and
Right.
associated to your name.
Yeah.
But that was the way to do things back then.
Of course.
Now they're still doing it in a smaller way, but there's still lots of companies that will call, and I have a very close friend of mine who works for a company in the city for furnace and duct cleaning, and that's how they get all of their business.
We don't do it that way, do we?
No, so telemarketing is dead. Nobody wants those calls. And if you are if you are the person who picks them up and I don't even listen to them anymore. I find them very intrusive, unfortunately, because my opinion is, our philosophy for the company, if somebody today, and I'm talking about today, if somebody wants a service, what do?
They Google you.
Google it.
Of course.
So
Yes,
if somebody wants something, they're going to Google, they're going to make a decision, and then they're going to call whoever they decide.
And they'll call usually 2 or 3 different companies.
Right.
Typically.
Yeah.
Yeah, or get free estimates
Yeah,
from multiple companies. Yeah.
Or they do their research and have made the decision on who they want before they call.
Right.
And we hope that our customers have done that. So when a customer calls, say us or any company, the tables are turned. So that person wants to speak to you. They're engaged. They have questions. They want answers, and they have a specific purpose of calling you. So it's a much more it
Different
transfers
dynamic, isn't it?
the dynamic.
Yeah.
Where when they're calling you and they want that service done, and now it's up to you to explain them and satisfy them to book with your company or what have you.
Yeah,
so it's a completely different dynamic, and that's what we like. We do not telemarket. We don't email blast. We don't chase our customers, previous customers, even come back to us.
Eventually we may do, if we ever get round to it, but it would be like once or twice a year maybe.
Right.
Or just a heads up, you had your furnace cleaned 2 years ago. But that's the limit. And here's some useful information. That's the limit to which we want to do it, because we want to be respectful of our customers.
Yeah,
right?
of course.
If you've done a good enough job, or a dang good job, I should say, and you've delivered to that customer, they're going to come back to you. They don't need you to continuously call them to remind them. They don't need endless emails, to come back and do you need something done, because that takes that great experience with that customer. They're like, oh my God, if I get one more email message from this company, I'm never going to call them again. So our whole philosophy is, if they want what we can deliver, they will call us. And when they call us, we respond. Then we make sure they're happy, and we get our repeat clients that way.
Yeah, of course. I suppose would also really come down to what type of business that you are running as well, because, for example, with roofing companies, a lot of it is kind of out of sight, out of mind, for example. So with some of the emails that our company sends out, we use certain programs so we can easily send a message to however many clients. But gutter cleaning, for example, something that a lot of people don't think of, and there are lots and lots of properties with heavy tree coverage all over the place, right?
Yeah.
And in the winter, they'll mention to us, there's always ice all over the walkway and everything else, and having clean, decluttered gutters is extremely important. So it kind of depends.
Is that what No Payne Roofing does
We
too?
also cater to gutter cleaning as well.
Yeah.
We install gutter guards and things like that to keep them free of debris. But so that's why I say it depends on the industry that you're in as well. To an extent, right?
That is true.
Yeah.
Friendly reminder that, hey, those gutters that are 10 feet above your head that you never look at,
if
remember.
If you're providing a service through your email, then that makes sense. Do you know what I mean?
Of course. Yeah.
I guess it depends on the business and everything. And I'm not saying we shouldn't ever do emails, we just haven't got round to it. But I think there's a balance. There's always a balance between, do I really need an email about 3 times a week? Like, you know what I mean? Like that's kind of annoying.
We have a company, a competitor, and it's not just one, but we noticed that sometimes their program, they send out a lot of reminders to customers, and sometimes it really backfires on them, and I don't know if they realize that or not, but
it can.
We're just very
it's being respectful to the customer, basically.
I think you got to know your own industry and how customers are going to perceive you, or and the service that you're putting out there. Of course, everything is a little bit different.
And, I guess how I would perceive it, say with carpet cleaning, people can very easily, I guess, inspect their own carpet. They likely see it constantly, and you get a call about having your carpet clean. It's like, I don't need it or I don't want it. But as I said, with something is out of sight or out of mind, it's a little bit, gives you a little bit more leniency in the
Yes,
marketing
that's
side
true.
of things.
Yeah.
It is
That'd be
easy
true.
to overdo though as
Yes,
well. There is a
yeah.
fine line, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, say with say we're approaching winter again, we might send out an email that says, hey, or providing information as well in these emails, as you said, is
Yeah.
extremely important. And
Yes.
showing them diagrams on just how much of an impact the levels of insulation in your attic can impact heating
Oh,
costs
Yes.
and things like
yeah,
that, right?
So
So
education.
we're approaching
yeah.
negative 35, negative 40 degree weather.
Yeah.
A friendly reminder that, hey, insulation levels play a huge part. Have you looked up inside your attic at all? Are you maybe in the market for an insulation upgrade? How much did you spend last year on heating your home? Could you cut that in,
Absolutely.
Yeah,
cut that by a third
absolutely.
potentially, right? So
Yeah.
it depends on the
It does
market,
depend.
right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
and the
yes,
industry.
it does. Yeah.
It does.
Yeah.
and so having a thumb on that pulse.
Yes. Yeah.
I guess with whichever industry that you are in, it's, as I said,
And
there's
also
a fine line.
these some of these companies that do the telemarketing, right? It's not necessarily. You have to be careful even with these companies that sometimes it's one name that they give, but it's another company that comes out and does the actual work and things like that. Especially
Yeah,
with these
no,
duct
exactly,
cleaning companies, right? So you have to watch that too.
Yeah, I
Right.
get what's the phrase I'm thinking of now? Goodness. Yeah, subcontracting work
Yeah,
just
yeah.
so far away from the original source.
That's right.
Um,
yeah.
Yeah,
It
you
can
think
be
you're
certainly
you're
dangerous.
hiring a company and they're going to
Yeah.
show up with their employees, and then other times, they think that, but Joe Blow shows up with a different company name or what have you, and it's a little confusing to customers. And a lot of companies need subcontractors. There's all kinds of companies.
Oh,
that need
certainly. It is
subcontractors.
acceptable to a certain degree.
Yeah,
of
100%.
course.
As long as there's
yeah.
ownership.
Yeah.
Like
long as
we
there's
have,
ownership.
yeah, exactly. Like we have clients who they have the roof done, and now they say, "Oh, I just put in a brand new stove, and I need a whole new like hood range system installed. What can you
Absolutely.
do?" Well, we have companies. Roger that HVAC is one that
Yeah.
we're closely associated with. We can certainly,
Yeah.
coordinate with him.
Yeah.
So subcontracting is certainly very helpful and
Yeah, it can be
necessary at times. Right?
necessary, yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Of course.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I guess I could use that as a segue. That topic. Fixing carpet cleaning equipment. This is another subcategory of the company that
Yes,
you
we've
had mentioned
expanded.
to me,
Mm.
and how you even have other carpet cleaning companies who actually rely on your services in terms of repairing their equipment.
Yeah.
So why don't you tell me a little bit more about
Sure.
about that
Yeah.
aspect of business?
So, being in the industry, there for many years has been one company in town that serviced everybody, meaning products, equipment. You could buy equipment, they manufactured all this kind of stuff, and that company did us all well for a time being for many years. But then it was sold a few years ago to a U.S. company, and the whole aspect of the company changed, and there was no longer the service wasn't there anymore. So if you bought a piece of equipment, even from them, they had no ability to repair it or maintain it or what have you. And we, over the years, we've been in situations where we have one truck go down and we'd have another truck go down. And in one day we had 4 trucks that all had mechanical issues on a very busy day. And there was a point where my wife and I looked at each other and went, what are we going to do? And I'm not Mr. Mechanic. I'm not the guy who can, just repair this equipment. And sometimes it's quite difficult to repair. And so we learned the hard way. We're like, we have to do something. So when this company was sold, the mechanic, who was a friend of mine who worked there, I said to Karen, we really need, he never stayed on. They actually let him go with the takeover. And so I said to my wife, I said, we really need to hire this individual, bring him into our company. And we did. And because we need our equipment fixed, we go down, we have to have that truck back up and running in short order. So we brought him into our fold to do our repairs and such. But some of our competitors knew
Desperate. They were desperate.
they were
for
desperate. There was nowhere to get equipment repaired, and so they came to us and said, "Hey, we know this fellow's working for you. Would you be able to fix our truck?" And it went from that and us saying, "Sure, we'll fix your truck," to, "Man, there really is nobody. So why don't we offer the service to our competitors because they're in the same boat we are.
It's beautiful.
We know what it's like.
Some companies, they are a one-man operation. So they're supporting their entire family from
On
going
one
out
truck.
and cleaning carpets. And when their truck breaks down, it's devastating.
Of course.
They've lost,
And
they
we know
lose
what
money.
it feels like.
Right.
And they don't know how they're going to get it fixed or how long it's going to take, how much it's going to cost. And it's tough. And I see these guys come in and they're like very upset and can you help? And we just decided we would help. So we started fixing, the one-man show. And now some of the bigger restoration companies are like, hey, can you fix our equipment because we got piles of it and it's not getting fixed and this stuff's very expensive.
Right.
So a lot of the, I'd say half a dozen or so big restoration companies now come to us for their servicing.
Well, you certainly capitalized on a great opportunity, to obviously provide some more income for the company, but also help the entire industry.
Yeah, and I feel it shows that we're not afraid of competition. There's plenty of work out there for good carpet cleaning in particular. We're talking on with truck mounts. Companies out there that there's plenty of work for all of us. We don't have to be protective of our little bit. There's enough for everybody, right?
If you're confident in what you do, and what you provide in the industry, there's really no fear there. We don't, I have some very stiff competition that we work on their equipment to get them back out there to compete with us, right? So we're not afraid of the competition, and we just feel it just kind of felt like the right thing to do at that moment. It has turned into a bit more of an opportunity, but I find it's more we put a lot into it, meaning sometimes what's the word I'm looking for? Sometimes we're doing things for our competitors that's actually kind of hurting us a little bit. We're taking a little bit of time away from if I leave my desk to go and help a competitor's piece of equipment, I'm taking a little piece away from what I'm doing for dang good. But sometimes we do that little sacrifice because we just sometimes feel it's a good thing to do all around.
Yeah, of course. It feels good, and helping others there's nothing more rewarding than that, of course, right? And that only leaves a fantastic impression on your competitors, leaves a good taste in their mouth, dare I say, and it's good for business, of course. And I mean, you scratch their back, they might scratch yours.
Yeah, and we have had that, if we can't do it, we refer them to you. So it has paid off as well.
Yeah. Fantastic. I was hoping you could maybe describe some of the equipment that you've been repairing, because I mean, I'm thinking trucks. I'm like, well, I don't think you're talking about the engine of the truck. There must be some other equipment.
Right.
Do you want to describe some of that?
There's so many different types of cleaning a truck-mounted equipment. So you have your sliding units that are independent from the truck but mount into the truck. So they have their own motor. They're self-contained. They tap into the fuel tank of the truck, and that's your main unit. Those are kind of fun to work on in a sense that if you have a big problem, you can take it right out of the truck.
Right.
Or if your truck itself is no longer serviceable, or it breaks down, or you can't repair it, taking that particular unit out and putting it into a working truck is a good thing. There's other types are the drive shaft truck mount, so they actually run right off the motor of your truck.
Interesting.
And that's what powers the whole unit there. So there is a variety of equipment, and then other equipment for companies is the wands, all the attachments that go with that equipment, and different aspects, like there's fans that need some companies use that need repairs, and dehumidifiers. There's a whole range of items, equipment. But truck mounts there's not a lot of very different types, but there's either the slide-in or the shaft drive.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Yeah.
So a wide variety of equipment and all of which need service.
Mm-hmm. Yes, which is why you need to have the ability to stay on top of your equipment, wherever that may be, coming to us, or if you have your own knowledge of repairing it. But being able to keep that equipment running is very crucial.
The thing is, when you have a truck go down, customer doesn't understand when they've got a 9 o'clock appointment and they've just moved, say, a lot of furniture out the way. If you phone them up and say, I can't come, my truck's broke down, they don't get it. They don't get it.
They don't care.
They don't care. They just know they booked an appointment and they want you there.
Of course, yeah.
And so
we've learned over the years and it's a very expensive endeavor. It's like you must have spare trucks.
you've got to have a backup.
So over
Yeah.
the years, we've purchased trucks that just sit.
Right.
And their sole purpose is to jump into action when a piece of equipment in your fleet goes down. But those units are very expensive. It's very expensive to keep them sitting and stuff like that. But once you you get to a certain level where you have to have that. And if you don't, you can disappoint an awful lot of customers very quickly.
And more so with carpet cleaning, especially if it's like move in or move out day, it's not like any other day is going to work.
Right.
Especially
I can
move in.
imagine.
You know, I've got the removal guys coming at midday and I've booked you for 3 p.m. before or whatever it might be. And it's like,
Some
there's
people
no-
have some serious deadlines.
yeah, there's no
Right.
wiggle room for them,
And if
right?
you disappoint them, you could...
and when they're moving, so stressful, they don't need the stress of you cancelling on them either.
Right. No, I
So-
understand, as does Carly, just with how specific the timing must be
Yeah.
in some
Yeah.
in some cases.
Yeah.
With roofing or say with inspections and things, it's more a matter of them needing to be home to grant me access, and sometimes they will take time off of work.
Yes.
But then the repair that I had to do earlier that day took much longer, and I'm way
Yes.
behind schedule, and I
Yeah.
either need to reschedule with them or I need to be way later. They took all that time off work to
Okay,
be
they're
there, and
upset.
it's,
Yeah.
right? Like
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
not, it's
Yeah.
it's no fun to be in those situations. But I understand that all too well.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. There's
right.
so many parts to juggle,
Yeah,
and
of course.
balance, right? Yeah.
Right. Well, luckily on Thursdays I don't have a whole lot going on after afternoon because I have yeah. Yes, dear.
Question.
A question.
Oh, hold on.
You're gonna have to turn it back on. I'm happy we got a question. Fantastic.
Is it working?
Yes, dear, it is.
Do you often get carpet cleanings that have resulted from a leaking roof?
Well, the answer to that would be yes. We have had situations where we've been called and they've had a leak from the roof for whatever reason, ice buildup or even other issues, a pipe or something, even through a ceiling through a home. But we have had calls where that has happened, and getting out and dealing with something like that quite quickly is super important. Obviously, getting the leak stopped is the number one importance. But yeah, we do, and getting those repairs done quickly and getting the carpet dried up and sorted is something that needs to be done
Yeah.
quickly.
Because damp carpet is a terrible smell. Don't know if you've ever.
Yeah. No.
I've had that. I was before I met Mark. I was in a condo, and I kept coming in. What is that smell? And I had a plastic container of distilled water in the wardrobe. I don't know why, but somehow it split, and I didn't realise it'd been seeping out water for quite some time just on the carpet, and that's what the smell was, and it was disgusting.
Right. Yeah, I can
Yeah,
imagine just
yeah.
how.
We had that when our bathroom flooded.
Yeah. We had that. Yeah, we had that same issue as well.
Well, anytime you
yeah.
get, carpet saturated, whether it be a leak from a roof or a pipe, anything, toilet overflowing, dishwashers, so many pitfalls in your home that could, undo and cause you a grief. When a carpet's wet, a lot of people will, especially in basements, they'll run around with a shop vac and try and, suck up the water and all that. But that's just the tip of the iceberg.
That's where it's gone
Because
underneath.
again, we're talking about underlay, and that big sponge underneath your carpet is holding a lot of water.
Right.
So one of the things that really needs to happen is that carpet's got to come up. That underlay has to go, right, and then get everything dried up. And
How big of a spill would you need in order to go that length? Like say you have a 2-liter bottle of Coca-Cola or something. Say it tips and no one sees it. That's say 2 liters. Is
yeah,
that, like,
so
how much
that you might
really-
have a stain that's the size of a dinner plate, but you've got a football field underneath that
Right.
carpet that's now a big stain. So, that's kind of subjective. If you clean it all up and you don't see anything on the top and you don't care what's underneath and you let it dry and everything looks good, That's all fine.
Yeah.
But just know if you
Come
have
to
that,
clean it.
if you're selling your home and the new buyers are going to buy this, you might not want to tell them that that's there. But
Right.
anytime you clean that carpet, you're going to
gonna
have that
wick all
big
this stuff up.
wicking situation come
Yeah.
up again. But
Wicking.
let's say you have a small incursion of water into a room. If it's fresh water and it's not too bad, you could put weight on that carpet. First of all, get off the excess, or call a company like ours or somebody else in our industry and have them remove as much as you can. But that underlay, you need to deal with it. So I always suggest putting, some old towels down, anything you can absorb with some weight on top, and it'll draw a lot of that moisture out of the carpet. You put in your dehumidifiers and some fans, and you can get away with it. If it's gray water or even worse, sewage backup or anything like that, it doesn't matter how much of that underlay gets, you're pulling it out.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah.
All very viable information, no doubt about it. I'm sure viewers are happy to hear it as well. There are solutions, some of which may be just sweeping under the rug, you say, but to take that step and go the length necessary in order to do a professional clean certainly would not be, nobody would regret that sort of action. So, right.
Yeah.
Well, this has been a great conversation.
Yeah.
I'm
it's
having
been
a lot of fun.
it's been really good. It's been business for let's see, almost just over an hour so
Wow.
far.
There
So
you go.
Yeah.
I think we've gotten a great impression. I mean, you guys are
Yeah,
clearly
great.
dedicated to what you're doing, and I think anybody would be satisfied and happy to have you in
thank
their
you.
home to do the work.
Thanks
So,
for having us.
of course, yes. Well, there
Yeah.
is certainly a whole other side of you guys that I'm sure our audience is eager to get to know a little bit. So, a little bit more personal, as I had mentioned before. I'd like to get to know you guys outside of business. So, why don't you describe to us some of your personal interests, hobbies outside of work? What keeps you going?
That's a very interesting question, because we have all kinds of hobbies we would love to endeavor into.
Right, and you cannot say carpet cleaning. That does not count. That doesn't count.
Well, no, but I mean, anybody who might be watching who is in a small business or what have you, all of those fun things that you really enjoy doing or would love to do, get the time to do, they virtually don't exist.
Except for one for you.
There might be one or two that you
Yeah,
can squeeze in there,
yeah.
but
Right.
overall, your hobbies and your leisure time and your fun outside of work sort of just disappears when you run a small business. So we don't have a lot of spare time, but what we do is what we find most rewarding is peace and quiet.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. and we're just sitting and watching Netflix, like
Yeah.
binge watching
Sometimes
Netflix.
we just take a day and we're
Oh.
like, yeah, okay, it's Sunday. The office is closed. Everybody's at home. What can go wrong? And we're like, okay, we have a day. What are we going to do? I just want to sit in my recliner and watch something that takes my mind off of everything.
Everything.
Right. Yeah. Right. I agree. I relate. I can relate to that. Of
So
course.
Yeah.
we do that. But one of my hobbies that I do get to indulge in outside of work, which happens in our off season, which is January, February, March. So I'm a snowmobiler.
Snowmobiling.
Yeah,
He loves it.
I was wondering.
I live and breathe snowmobiles. I love
Fantastic.
Yeah.
them. And January, February, March gives me an opportunity because
loves it.
things are
Absolutely loves it.
slowing,
Of
slower.
course. Yeah. Well,
I
it's
can
the dead of winter as well.
I can
so.
leave the office and I have, maybe a few staff working that can manage things, and fingers crossed, there's no big catastrophe. And if there is, I can probably deal with it when I get back. So I like to sneak away on the weekends, leave on a Friday. I've got some friends that I've made in the snowmobile.
He's got in a club called Nobody Sleds Alone.
Fantastic.
Which works great.
Just
Yes.
as the name implies.
Yes.
Right?
Because
Yeah.
we work so much, I don't have a large social circle of snowmobile friends.
Right.
So when I, decided I wanted to get back into snowmobiling and enjoy that experience, I'm like, I can't really. I used to go sledding alone, and that's not a good thing to do. I don't advise anybody do that.
Of course.
Because
Yeah.
so many things,
Avalanche hazard.
many things
There's a
can
lot
happen,
of safety protocol.
and I've
yeah.
experienced a couple. But anyway, so to broaden my friend circle, I joined that club, and over time I've met
Builds
some
up
other
people,
gentlemen in my age bracket. Because if anyone's a sledder out there and they're watching this, I am not one of those kick-ass guys who go flying up to the top of the mountain. I like to take it a little bit slower and a little more cautious there because I'm not that. I don't have those abilities anymore, but I sure like getting out and having fun, and I got a great group of guys.
Good way for you to switch off, isn't
you
it?
can decompress out there when you're out in the mountains, playing around in that snow on a sled. You forget about everything else.
Of course, that's fantastic. I was just thinking, I wonder what it's going to be. Snowmobiling, that's great. Yeah, we do get a lot of sport-oriented business owners that get involved. There's either jet skiing or snowboarding. Camping is fairly common as well. And you're the first snowmobiler we've had through here, I believe.
Oh yeah,
yeah, I think so.
And this is Alberta, and I'm the first snowmobiler.
Yeah, maybe I'm wrong.
Going
I've had about 45 interviews, and I can't remember all of them, but I feel like I might remember. But
we do have a campsite. A camper permanently on a campsite.
Yeah, we thought it'd be a great idea, didn't we?
Yeah, it was that we don't go out there that much.
But we're like, what can we do on a weekend, last minute, that would be fun? And we're like, let's buy a fifth wheel.
Right.
Okay, so we buy a fifth wheel.
So we have a fifth wheel.
We don't have time to hook it up and pull it all over and go everywhere. Well, let's buy a permanent site and let's put it on a site. So we did all of that. And have we even been one time this summer? We have this fantastic place, 45 minutes from the city, and we never get there.
Yeah.
And we look at each other and go, what are we doing this weekend? So we have that place, and we're like, okay, this is crazy.
I know.
We don't want to go out there, but now it's Sunday. I can't go snowmobiling. I want to go to a lake. So we purchased this motorhome.
An old motorhome.
Specifically to take us to the lake, park it, go for a swim.
Yeah.
simple, easy to use, and I think we've gotten some use out of that.
We have,
so
yeah.
We try to treat ourselves, but again, running a small business keeps you very very busy.
Yeah, duty calls.
Duty calls, and you got to be there.
Yeah.
Because nobody's going to help you if you don't help yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Well, that's the thing. I mean, over time, the company will expand. Of course, there'll be more personnel capable of, I guess, freeing up time for yourselves. Like, for example, with Mike Payne, the owner at No Payne, he started to recognize that there were people within the company that could take a lot of weight off of his shoulders. With Carly getting involved with, say, sales and office administration position, that freed up a lot of time. Not a lot of time, but it freed up time for him. And then as for myself, doing a lot of inspections and estimates.
Yeah.
He found the right people to kind of take care of these sort of things and decided to go down to Mexico for a while, right?
Absolutely.
He obviously still is.
Is that where he is right now?
He's in Mexico right now. But he's on the phone with us all the time, constantly.
Right
He's firing off estimates all the time. He's very involved, but he was able to find that opportunity to take a step.
And that's
right
amazing.
direction.
That's amazing.
That would be nice,
So,
wouldn't it?
I'm
We're
a
not
little
there
jealous.
yet.
I'm a little jealous. But
He'll be back. He's moving back in like 3 months. He'll be back here. He's spent about a year, I think, down there, but he'll be back.
Right on.
But he saw the opportunity and he took it. So
Absolutely.
Good for him.
opportunities are always there. It's about finding the right people, right?
Yes.
And as you said, depending on the
People.
industry, it's very difficult to find the right people.
Yeah.
But trust is absolutely everything, I think. And
Right.
you can find somebody you can trust,
Right.
then you've won half the battle.
That's right. We've had people call us, ask for a position. It's all right, show up on site on Monday. And I've been on the roof once and saw the new guy because he gives a vehicle description and drive by, look out the window slowly, look up at the roof, keep on driving.
Yeah.
Didn't even
Yeah.
stop,
Yeah.
right?
It's,
I've seen that happen. It's crazy.
It's interesting. It's really difficult. We struggle to find good people.
Right.
For whatever reason that may be.
Sometimes
And
we have got good people
We
now.
we
though.
have great people
Yeah.
now, but it's taken a lot of time and effort and searching to get this nucleus, right? And every one of our employees are dedicated to our cause. Because if you don't buy in, if you can't buy into the company you work for, you're not going to deliver, depending on the company standard, of course. You want that employee to deliver. It's not even really an employee, it's a teammate, really. I don't like calling people employees.
No.
It's not a word I really like, so I shouldn't use it. Team
Teammates.
members.
Yeah.
We actually look at everybody who works for us as family,
right.
which is kind of intimate.
It's
but
good business ethic, of course.
if an employee has a problem, we want to back them up, or we always want to help each other. So because that's so important. But trying to find raw talent, right? So what's raw talent? It's you're able-bodied, fit, you don't have a criminal record and you got a driver's license. You know nothing about the world. You just know you need a job.
And you want to
right?
work.
And
you
you'll
want
come to work.
Yeah.
That
yeah,
is
of
the
course.
best. That individual is worth the
Anyone
weight
that
in gold.
wants
You
to
might not even
work.
know it.
Yeah,
Want to work
no,
because you can train them, right?
of course, yeah.
People are willing to work and learn and do it with enthusiasm. Sometimes can be difficult to find.
Of course,
And
it certainly can be.
I
yeah.
found one of our best technicians, young fella. His
customer.
name's Darnell, and he'll probably, if he watches this, he'll get a kick out of it. But I was on the phones with a customer who happened to be his mother, and through the booking process, she asked if we could give her any kind of a deal or special or any kind of a discount because she was struggling and she was out of work.
Right.
Laid off out of the oil industry, and that which we did accommodate her that way. But through the conversation, I said, "Yeah, I'm sorry, I heard you were laid off." I said, "We're always looking for people. Like, people are laying off, but we're looking for people. Young people to come work for us." She goes, "You are?" And she goes, "Well, my son's looking for a job." And I said, "Wow, okay, well, this is interesting." I said, "How old's your son?" She gave me a little background, and I give her the same questions. Hate to ask this. Any criminal record? No. Does he have a driver's license? Absolutely. Does he have a good driving record? Yes. Ask him to show up 9 a.m. Monday morning. He has a job. So he showed
Fantastic.
up. He showed up 9 a.m.
Yeah.
Monday morning.
It's been with us a while now.
And he has turned out to be a fantastic asset to our company.
All right, Darnell, way to be, man. Way to be.
So you
Keep
don't
it
know
up.
where you're going to get the gems from, but they
course.
pop up. And
Right.
we've had,
And we've got other gems.
we have other gems as well.
too.
All
We
of
don't
our
need to name them all.
no, I just use that one as an example. All of our technicians, we could name them all, but they're all fantastic, hardworking, dedicated employees.
I'm happy to hear that. Of course, that could be one of the most difficult uphill challenges for most companies is
For any
finding the right
company.
personnel, right?
Yeah.
And to hear just how you came across Darnell, I believe he said his name was, and the fact that you have other gems working for the company, it is a very heartwarming story. Not to mention, I guess, inspiring because some
Awesome.
companies get down and they get a little less than motivated, when they go through so many people or have such a hard time finding the right personnel. But
Have to keep on keeping on.
yeah, that's right. And hearing your guys' story, I think certainly will help to keep that fire lit for some companies. Because it's been very difficult for No Payne as well. And I mean, unfortunately, some industries have it worse than others. And I mean,
Yes.
drug testing is something that we had
It's a
to
big thing.
cater to as well too,
Yep.
right?
Yes.
And
especially, I think, with now that you've got certain drugs that are now legal that never used to be, it's something you have to watch because you still can't have people impaired in the job.
Yeah,
they're
of
doing.
course. You smoke too much, and you're trying to operate this piece of machinery and
Yeah,
clean a
yeah.
client's house.
And-
It's it's
And if something goes wrong, it's not the individual who's going to pay the price. It's the company.
yeah, of course.
Right. And you don't want people getting injured, hurt in any way. So yeah, drug testing is a big thing, and just making sure everybody's safe for sure. Yeah.
Right. Well, it's been a real pleasure speaking with
Yeah,
you
indeed.
guys.
It has been a lot of fun.
Right.
I was,
yeah, it's pretty good.
this morning I was like, thinking about coming to do the podcast. I'm like, it'll be nice to get out of the office for a while. But
Yeah, of course.
I've enjoyed myself a lot more than I thought I might, and it's been a lot of fun.
Right, of course. Well, telemarketing's out, but podcast is the next best thing, right?
Podcast is the next best thing. Absolutely.
We certainly, each of our, team members as well will share this video as well on their personal social media accounts,
Yeah.
as well as
Yeah,
No
as
Payne
well as
Roofing
us.
shares
Yeah,
it.
absolutely.
And so a lot
It
of different
does get
people see
around.
it. And of course, with the mystery word challenge, a reminder to those, the mystery word challenge. I'm not sure if the camera's on me or not, Carly.
It's
Yes,
on you.
it is.
So
it
it
is.
is on me, right? Yeah, Carly
Yes.
stepped out for a minute. She will be back. But we do have the mystery word challenge up and running. And if you tuned in last week, we just gave away $500 and a whole bunch of prizes. It took a long time to find a true winner for the mystery word challenge because maybe it was just too difficult. But we made a winner ourselves, and it was fantastic. And we will be doing giveaways similar to the last one eventually. I'm not going to tell you what the mystery word was, but it was said more than once. And even if you didn't comment during the stream, you can certainly comment on the video after we are done streaming live, and you still have a chance to win. So, yeah, just a little reminder for our viewers because it's outside of, I guess, sharing the video amongst ourselves,
Yeah.
some incentive for viewing is helpful as well, because
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, podcasts are great, but I guess it may be a little bit tougher to gain traction when it's, local business oriented rather than
Absolutely.
conspiracy theories and all
I
that
love
kind of stuff.
conspiracies.
Oh yeah, tell me about it. Yeah, me too. And it's funny because Mike mentions to me sometimes try to work that kind of stuff into it. Sometimes depends on who I get in the room.
Well,
with
I'm
me,
your
right?
guy.
But yeah, no, that's good stuff. But yeah, I mean, creating incentive for people to share and for people to tune in is super important. So I suppose that's a wrap. So Karen, Mark, it was pleasant speaking with both of you. I certainly know who to call when I move out of this place to get the carpets done.
Awesome.
Because
Yeah.
I mean, after hosting so many people, plumbers, everything else, I certainly have a catalog
List.
of
Yeah, absolutely.
yeah, and it's
Yeah.
funny actually.
Yeah.
This basement only had one outlet in this basement when I moved in,
Oh,
just
wow.
in near the panel.
You've had to upgrade.
And we had the honest electrician as a guest more than once. And when I got into this basement, we hired the honest electrician to come in and wire up this basement.
Nice.
So put in about 8 outlets down here, right? So
There's nothing better than, finding a great
Connections.
group of connections. Yeah, people that you get to know,
of
and
course, yeah.
you can rely on different services. Where, and we're all here to help each other, and we'd be happy to help you if the time ever comes.
Of course. So, even real estate agents we've had, and I mean, I'm looking to buy in the near future. And so, I've just got this catalog of people that I can reach out to. Just going to have to log into the YouTube channel of No Payne and go through the list of videos and listen back to some things. But
There you go.
anyways, again, it was great having both of you here.
You're welcome.
I think I'm going to have to tune out for us because I think Carly, she even turned the keyboard around for me to press the necessary buttons.
Hey,
but
no
that's
worries.
okay.
My
She
phone's
has-
been beeping here like
Yeah.
crazy, and I'm like, somebody wants me bad.
Right. Well, Carly does have other appointments to get to. So
Right on.
We'll just give you guys another little. Oh, there we go. Here we can do the wide angle view on the way out. So, anyways,
Okay.
everybody, thanks for tuning in. Again, leave your guesses for the mystery word below in the comments, and we will be going live again next Thursday at 3 p.m. I can't tell you who the guest is because we like to keep it a secret sometimes, but other than that, thank you for tuning in, and thanks again to Karen and Mark for being here. You need your furnace cleaned, you need your carpets cleaned, call Dang Good Carpet and Furnace Cleaning Services. Right?
Awesome.
Okay,
Thank you so
take
much.
care, everybody.
That was a lot of fun. I'm gonna throw that over there.
Oh, I didn't
Yeah.
press the right button.
Oh,
There it
at least
is.
can he still hear
Thanks
us?
for watching.
That's what I said.
All right. Oh, cool. Right on. All right.